Here's what some people are saying about the Projection Booth podcast.
The Projection Booth is single-handedly the greatest film podcast you could ever listen to or could possibly want.
Top notch. 5 stars. This has quickly become one of my favorite film-related podcasts. Always interesting.
A completely unpretentious yet fully comprehensive look at films from all genres.
The Projection Booth podcast, with new episodes available every week at projectionboothpodcast.com.
You guys look like... What do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
Get those birds!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What? Are you kidding? We got us a family here.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
You are listening to the In the Mouth of Dorkness podcast. Here are Brad, Lisa, and Darren.
Welcome to another edition of the REVIEWcast podcast. With me is Brad Gullickson, Mouth Door.
Yo ho, a pirate's life for me.
And also joining us is Lisa Gullickson, wife Door.
Monkey.
And I'm your host, Darren Smith, the Disco Dork. And welcome to the REVIEWcast podcast, reviewcast for Pirates of the Caribbean 5.
Arr, yes.
How about I just say Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
They don't.
And so this is the latest film in the Pirates franchise. Johnny Depp returns. Jeffrey Rush returns.
Orlando Bloom returns in like the first 5 seconds.
It's awesome. Brenton Thwaites.
Yeah, from The Signal.
The Signal. Yeah, every time I see him, that's what I think about. Think about that film. An awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Nice little science fiction film. It's good.
This is the first one directed by Joachim Running and Espen Sandberg, who did Kon-Tiki.
Did I see that? I didn't see that.
It's okay.
Yeah, just okay?
Yeah, it's fine. It's good. It's a good movie. It's good.
All right, I'll check it out. So this film, I can't speak on how this film picks up from the last film, Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, because I elected not to watch that film because it was not directed by Gore Verbinski.
You chose wisely.
And I know this film also is not directed by Gore Verbinski, but when On Stranger Tides was doing its rounds as far as advertisement, the trailers didn't strike me. So I had no interest in seeing it. But the trailers for Dead Men Tell No Tales, for whatever reason, I felt compelled to check it out.
I think Javier Bardem in those trailers is a big reason why you were compelled to check it out. But, I just recently rewatched all 4 of the films for our official ranking on our Squarespace page. Mm-hmm. Go check that out. I agree with you. The Gore Verbinski movies are great entertainment. Mm-hmm. They are so weird.
Yep.
They are so gross. They are so violent. They are so inventive. And like all Verbinski movies have this twisted sense of humor, but photographed in the most beautiful light. Mm-hmm. He makes gorgeous pictures. And those first 3 Pirates movies are beautiful to look at. Mm-hmm. On Stranger Tide, I feel like when it went to Rob Marshall, he pulled way back on the weird of those first 3 films. Because, 2 and 3 were, not as well received as the first one critically or even fan-wise. Yeah. Lots of people make comparisons to The Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions when talking about those movies, really? Calling them, overwrought and bloated. And yeah, they're definitely they're going big with 2 and 3. They're telling this epic love story about a squid man and a Calypso, this kaiju crab lady. Yeah. And I don't know if that's necessarily what people wanted coming off of the adventure of part 1. So I think that 4 was a response to 2 and 3, and we're gonna have some creepy mermaids. We're gonna go looking for the Fountain of Youth, but we're not gonna get too weird. At least with Dead Men Do Tell Tales, they get weird again.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Speaking on the second and the third Pirates film, The second one is my favorite, and that's the one with Davy Jones. That's played by Bill Nighy. Actually, his character is in the third one as well, but this is when he's first introduced.
Ditto.
And I can see how, like, people are not wrong when they talk about how the second film kind of opens up more, and there's a lot more going on in that film.
The mythology is huge.
And for me, that's what I appreciate the most about this franchise, is that it has such an inventive mythology. Like, I can't point to another film or franchise that is similar to Pirates in this way. From the time period, the setting, the inclusion of pirates, but then the supernatural aspect, and how, for me, like, they pull it off when they have the supernatural characters or special effects or scenes in there. When they move away from that and they have a dialogue scene in some, posh, mansion somewhere with Elizabeth Swann or whatever, like, for me, I'm not taken out of it. It feels right at home. Like, Gore Verbinski in those films managed to make all of that work.
Disney could have easily made a Pirates of the Caribbean film based on that theme ride, just about pirates looking for booty.
Right.
And they said, no, we got Gore Verbinski, we need ghost pirates.
Right. And then with the second film, as far as Davy Jones and Bill Nighy's character and how that carries over into the third film, well, in other franchises, specifically the MCU, a lot of people say the MCU has a villain problem. You have these one-note villains who are just, I just want to destroy the world, I just want to take over Earth, or what have you. But in the Pirates film, Davy Jones's character, there is a purpose, and it's not just, world domination or to take over the seas.
He's a sympathetic character.
He's a very sympathetic character. There are specific moments dedicated to make you understand and feel for him. And then to have his storyline and character arc continue off into the third one, and then you meet that woman who has his heart and who drove him to do the things that he did in the second film. You're still filling in and giving that character exposition and filling out and rounding out his motivations in the second film. For me, like, I just think that that's one of the really cool aspects about the franchise. And again, I haven't seen Stranger Tides, but the first film, where you have Jeffrey Rush's character, his character finishes getting fully arced over and fleshed out in this film. Captain Salazar's character, even though this is only his introductory film, he has a fully well-rounded character with motivations that aren't just like they didn't play out like how I thought it was going to play out. And then on top of that, you have Javier Bardem portraying that character, just being really great in that role. So it didn't hurt to have him bring that character to life. But the human characters, the non-supernatural, played by Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley, who are established in the first film, they have a continuing arc throughout the series, except for the fourth film, if I'm not mistaken. But this film wraps their characters' storyline up in a way that I found emotionally satisfying, and it was one of the 2 times I cried in the movie. But I just felt like, coming off of a summer where I had complaints about the Fast franchise, just saying screw you to the other films that we showed you, and all the involvement that you put into, the time and involvement you put into these characters, and also like my issues with Alien Covenant, I just felt like it was cool for me to see characters from other parts, the earlier parts of the franchise, and acknowledge story beats and things like that from the earlier
Even
films.
the smaller guys,
yes,
right? So
yes.
like Kevin McNally as Gibbs.
Yep.
His arc is continuing in 5.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Graham, who plays Scrum in 4, he carries over into 5. And Martin Kleba as Marty, he comes over. So like Captain Jack's crew, they've been there, since the beginning.
Yep.
And that adds to the texture of this franchise.
Now I feel left out because I didn't go back and watch the original films. I remember watching the initial film a couple of times. because I really did enjoy it. It was a really entertaining film. And I know that I've seen 2 and 3 in the theater.
Yeah.
I'm not positive I've seen 4. I probably haven't. Or if I did, maybe I slept.
You've watched it at home with me on Blu-ray.
But, I mean, to me, like, those middle films, I have little to no memory of them.
3 was one of our first dates.
Oh, that's so nice. So I don't have that satisfying, like, oh, look at all of these small little pieces coming together.
Gotcha.
So to me, like, having Orlando Bloom and Elizabeth Swann is weird. Keira Knightley, there you go, calling one their actor name, the other their character name.
Podcasting.
Them coming together, I'm like, to me, I was like, well, that feels random. You know what I mean? And to me, it felt like a little strange for them to come back at the end of the film.
Well, it is like starting the Fast franchise at 5, 6, or 7, or starting the MCU with Ant-Man or Age of Ultron. They do, because of them adhering to the universe that they built in the first film, you would benefit most.
But they at least they did set up Orlando Bloom's Will Turner character at the beginning of the film, because he is cursed. And he's cursed to the bottom of the sea, which I guess happened in the film that I didn't see. Yeah, but they don't set up Keira Knightley's character. We don't see Elizabeth Swann until the end of the film.
Right, because him being cursed and also Keira Knightley's character in the third film, not in the fourth one. That's why I didn't see the fourth one. They didn't have anything to do with the fourth film.
Right.
It's the Captain Jack show in fourth.
Right.
Barbossa's in it.
But I think they could have at least done a scene of Will Turner with his, or young Turner, boy Turner, with his mom. So at the end to set up that relationship.
Well, so if at the end of the third film, the story is really about Will trying to save his father. He's
wait,
cursed.
Which one's Will? Is Will the son?
Orlando Bloom. Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Bloom is okay.
So his father was cursed to the ship, like you see him in this film.
Oh, it's a genetic thing.
And so if you kill the captain of the ship, you have to take the place of that captain. Okay. So the ship always needs a captain. So to save his father, he took the place. He killed the captain of the ship, killed Davy Jones's beating heart, and thus cursing himself, freeing his father from that debt.
I think I do vaguely remember this.
And so Keira Knightley, she knew, like, so now he has to go out to a sea, and every 10 years he can return to shore and see him. So at the end credits, you see them doing their thing on the beach, and them putting her boots and her clothes back on, sending him off, and he leaves. And then credits roll. After the credits, the stinger is she comes over the hill with a little kid. Aww. And then you see the light on the horizon. His father's coming back because it's been 10 years, and then cut to black. So the fourth film comes out. They're nowhere in the movie. This film comes out. You see what Will's been doing this 10 years. He's been adhering to that curse. And his son, who you saw in the stinger, if you stayed, comes looking for his father. Because basically it's coming full circle. Will went looking for his father in the other films. And so at the end, when they finally come back, it's a callback to the ending of the third film.
But at the same time, you could set it up for the person who hasn't been watching.
To Lisa's point, it is random the way it is shot, and the fact that they give Keira Knightley no words, and she is just a face coming up off of the hill at the climax of this movie. It's awkward, cinematically. But narratively, emotionally, I like it. I think Pirates 5 picks up the Will Turner story by giving him a son, gives Captain Jack somebody to play off. Brenton, not Thwaites, whatever his last name is, the Signal Kid. Mm-hmm. He is a solid actor, a solid presence, but he is not as unique of a character to... he's not his own being apart from his narrative device, and he can't really hold those scenes with Johnny Depp's Captain Jack. Captain Jack is still given the majority of the screenplay to say. He's still too large of a presence the way he was in 4. Right. I felt like 1, 2, and 3, it was a more well-rounded cast of characters. and in 4 and 5 it becomes the Johnny Depp show.
Right. Well, I haven't seen 4, so I can't attest to that, but I hear everyone echo the same sentiment. But while I do feel like Depp was on 11 as far as Jack Sparrow is concerned, especially like in the opening act, which is a really cool set piece. It's one of my favorite things about the second and the third Pirates film is they always open up with these huge, elaborate set pieces, and this one sees him and his crew attempt to rob a bank, and they literally end up stealing the whole bank.
I love that scene. To me, it's really evocative of like when you go to like a theme park, you go to a Disney show, and then they do like, this is what it's like to be on the set, and not with all of the like, you know, people doing the stunts live and everything being very practical. Yeah. For me, it was really evocative of that, and I thought that was really cool.
It felt like that,
especially in the context of this hyper CGI film, to have this really fun real scene.
It looked. I if that's a CGI house, I'd be shocked because it looked like they pulled that off practically, and I really appreciate that. But in that opening scene, like Jack Sparrow is turned up, he's cranked up. But I like that. For me, like it didn't feel like it was strictly the Jack Sparrow show, only because when Barbossa is reintroduced, his character is given some backstory that I wasn't expecting that tied into one of the main characters of the film, and I really appreciated that. What I appreciated the most about Pirates 5 is that it was like they took the franchise, they took the fifth film and said, okay, let's tell a unique story, a different story that has nothing to do with the previous film, get a new villain, but let's reintroduce some familiar characters, and let's tie them back and acknowledge the trilogy before the fourth film. And I like that they didn't feel like they had to rehash too much from earlier in the franchise. Other than you have like this ghostly captain in Salazar, akin to Bill Nighy's Davy Jones.
What did you think of the MacGuffin of this story?
The trident,
Poseidon's trident.
Again, because of this is prior to Justice League. But because of the unique mythology that these Pirates film have, I mean, this is, to me, nothing's going to equal as a kid me seeing Jason and the Argonauts and seeing Harryhausen stop motion stuff like that. But when as a kid seeing those films, there was nothing else in cinema for me at that time like that. I'm taken on a grand adventure to somewhere that I can't catch on Channel 20 or wherever else, or in cartoons or anything like that. This is something wholly unique, and it's live action, it's swashbuckling. And in this day and age, I'm spoiled on and raised off of MCU films now, and Star Wars movies every year, and a lot of indie stuff. But Pirates offers just a different, kind of a throwback to that time in my childhood when I was watching The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad and things like that, but updated. And when it's done in this particular era, when I have so many other different vices to choose from and different flavors of candy, like for me, I just appreciate it. So that trident thing, it just lends itself to the ship sailing on the edge of the ocean being split open. Like,
what's weird to me is looking at the mythology that has been built by the previous four. You have the cursed gold of the first film. You have Davy Jones's locker of the second film. You have World's End of the third film, and you have the Fountain of Youth in the fourth film. All very piratey themed, in-world ideas. And then in 5, to go mythological is very strange. Not that I disliked it, but it was. It did feel like So Poseidon's a thing in this series as well.
Well, for me,
I also didn't like the function of it, like something that ends all curses, because there are so many pirate curses that there to be too. One key to all of the curses, and then with the whole like it divides thing, like the little message on her notebook being like. That I forget the exact phrasing, but like,
if you divide the the power.
If you divide it, you know, and so like when they parted the sea, I was like, okay, clearly that's the divide. And then they're going, but what we actually have to do is break it. And I'm like, for one thing, that's not a divide. And for two, like that's just for it to be this like precious thing and then you need to break it.
It's like blowing up the droid ship in Phantom Menace or the mothership in Independence Day. It fixes everything.
Yeah.
One thing, what I appreciated about the introduction of that particular mythology, Poseidon and things like that, is that for me it didn't feel out of line because in Pirates 3 you have Calypso, this mythical. She is the embodiment of the sea. She's the spirit of the ocean and the sea, but she's trapped in
Calypso's
a woman's
part of
form.
pirate lore.
Yeah, but I mean,
Poseidon is too, I guess.
I mean, for me, Poseidon is a god of the sea. So anything attributed to the sea, I attribute it to pirates. I'm assuming that they've heard of.
I'm just saying, like if Aquaman showed up, you'd be like, that seems weird.
Sea related.
I probably would have given it another half a star, depending on who was cast as Aquaman. But the end of the day, like I really appreciate it. There's a moment in the beginning when Will meets his son. And he tells him, look, you got to leave, man. I'm cursed. This is my destiny. Just get away. It calls back to a scene in the earlier franchise when Orlando Bloom is talking to his father, played by Skarsgård. And that was a nice callback. But as that scene is ending, there is a musical cue in Hans Zimmer's score that is connected to Will and Elizabeth from the third film. And I think it's called the Marry Me Suite, if you're going to name the score or whatever. And when they played that, it made me go, shit, like I missed their I remember the end of that film. I missed their relationship. It made me care about Will Turner at this point and think about, damn, like he's been gone so long. And it just made me fill in the time period between the last time I saw him and now. And so then at the end of the film, when the son breaks the curse and his father comes ashore, I'm thinking, oh man, they haven't spoke about his mother. So apparently she's died. And one of the times when he came back ashore during that 10-year period, like he was made aware of it. So I guess they've moved past it now. So now it's just a father-son relationship. Okay, cool. So he puts his arm around, he said, how did you break the curse? And he says, I got a story to tell you. And so I'm thinking, all right, he's going to walk and go tell him this story. And maybe they're already have this understanding of where Elizabeth, what happened to her or whatever. And then they cut and they show her come over the ridge line. And at first, because she's so far away, I was thinking, was that the new woman, the new lead in the film?
Kaya Scodelario.
Yeah, I was like, she didn't seem like she was that far away the last time they cut away from her. But then I was like, wait a minute. Because I didn't read anything about the film. I didn't hear any spoilers. I didn't see Keira Knightley in the trailer. But when she came over the ridgeline and they played that theme, like, I welled up. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, because I'm thinking, like you mentioned, like you said, you remarked on that, Lisa, when I mentioned the curse of, now he's bound to that ship and he can only come ashore every 10 years to find somebody that you love, to go through everything that they went through. And now you have to see him off and he can't come back until another 10 years from now. And then he's going to have a kid. And now he can't see that kid till, every other 10 years. Like, to take all of that was established in the earlier pictures and then to see them reunited, and now he can stay. He's not just coming for another visit for a day. And that's the thing. When he comes ashore, he can only come ashore for like 24 hours or some shit like that. But now he's there for good. And just that music, it just, I don't know, like I just got emotional. I was like, man, like I really felt and appreciated them bringing closure, because they gave closure to like Barbossa's character. And that was another moment in the film that made me tear up when it's revealed that the new girl is his daughter, which gives Jeffrey Rush some really good moments to flesh Barbossa out as a character, to make him more than just like a villainous pirate. Like, you can really feel in those moments where he's putting two and two together in his head, and he goes to the stern of the ship, the port of the ship, and he's just like, oh man, like, that's my freaking daughter. Like, holy shit.
So, like, I liked all that stuff, and I loved his hero moment at the end of the film, certainly. But it does feel like they decided halfway through the filming process that was going to be a plot point.
Yeah.
It does feel like it is written out of nowhere.
Well, for me, I maybe if I go back and watch it, I may see it that way. But because I was along for the ride and I was invested and I was loving Jeffrey Rush when he was on screen, just where they were taking his character and what he was doing. When that moment comes and she says, what she knows something's up. She's like, what am I to you? And he says, treasure. I don't know if it has something to do with because I'm a father or whatever, but just with that character, just imagining that, he says like he put her on that step that was the most amount of decency he could muster up to give her that life away from this life that he's been living. But the fact that he's not stopped thinking about her this whole time, and then for him to reveal that to her and be honest with her, like, you are the thing that I seek, Mo. You are my treasure. You were and you always will be. Like, for him to say that to her and then make that ultimate sacrifice, like even before he made the sacrifice, him just saying that, treasure, like that just was, that was a really, powerful emotional moment for me. Like I got the feels like when that part happened too. But a lot of it has to do with Jeffrey Rush's delivery. Like he is just so good as
Rush is awesome.
When I saw the second Pirates before I saw the first Pirates. Mm-hmm. In the end of Pirates of the Caribbean 2, Jack Sparrow, quote unquote, dies at the end, and the last shot of the movie is them taking his body to see Calypso.
No, not his body. He's eaten by
the Kraken.
So they go to Calypso.
They go to Calypso to let him know what happened. Jeffrey Rush comes down the stairs. I hadn't seen the first one, so I had no investment. But the way he's introduced at the end of that, I was like, oh shit, I gotta go watch the first movie. Like I was on board. I was a go from that scene on. And so to have him come back in the third film and in this one, like I really appreciated that character and how I was sad that he died, but I just felt like
my favorite Jeffrey Rush in this series is the third movie when he leads them to World's End, and when they get Johnny Depp back and their relationship is it's like a buddy cop movie.
Yeah. Fighting over who's captain of the ship or whatever. Yeah. And I love that the Black Pearl came back, call back to the earlier films and how that.
And a callback to 4. One of the few callbacks because of the bottom.
How we got in the ship.
Yeah. I mean, and Barbossa's now like swinging around, Blackbeard's sword.
Yeah. So those were two things that I kind of gathered that was something that happened in the fourth film. So I don't know if I necessarily still want to go back and watch it to have it fill in, because I feel like I enjoyed the movie enough without seeing the fourth film.
I don't know. My feeling about the Pirates movies are that I could watch one of these a year. They're all in varying quality. The fourth one's my least favorite, but even that one, I just love this genre blend, and I really, really respond to those first three films because they are very much from the guy who brought you Rango and The Ring and A Cure for Wellness. It's a very specific point of view that Verbinski has, and how it got mixed up with Walt Disney is insane to me, and I love it.
Yeah. I don't know if I could use one every year, because I'd be afraid that next year we'd get another On Stranger Tide.
Yeah, you would.
But if we get the level that Gore Verbinski reached, or even this film, because again, I really enjoyed this film, then I wouldn't have a problem with it. Because again, like I said, I don't get like ghost zombie sharks in any other film. I don't get these ghost pirates who can run on water. I mean, it just makes for some really cool visuals.
Was super cool when you saw from the shot from under the ocean and the feet like.
It just makes for some really cool visuals, I think. And so, just again, that mythology, it's really cool to me. When they split the ocean and they're walking on the bed of the ocean, and you can see into the walls of the water. Like, I don't know, like I just really dug that. Oh, and I saw that in IMAX 3D. I wasn't supposed to. My ticket was supposed to be IMAX 2D. So I go to scan my phone in, and the lady hands me some glasses, and I go, "Ma'am, this is 2D," and it says it on my phone. This is 2D. She goes, "No, they told us to give you glasses." So I was like, okay. So I was like, man, she just doesn't know what she's talking about. So we sit in there, the previews come on, and it says, "Put on your 3D glasses." I'm going, wait, maybe it's IMAX trying to advertise their 3D movies coming up. So we see a bunch of trailers in 3D. And then the movie starts and it's in 3D. I'm like, what the fuck? And I was pissed because I was like, I could have brought my own IMAX 3D glasses. I prefer those. But let me tell you what, that movie looks really good in IMAX 3D. There are a bunch of moments that just really popped, and so that also lent itself to my enjoyment of the film. But my enjoyment was not predicated on the 3D. It was really just missing those characters because I skipped 4. So there's been a few years since my last go around with these characters. So it was just like a warm reunion with them. With these.
Do you know what I think
like.
is crazy? Is that we've been talking about this film for however long now, and we have barely talked about Captain Jack Sparrow and his character arc in this film. And do you know why? Because he does not have one.
He doesn't have one, but the one thing that they do address with his character that I did find interesting is that in the film, at the beginning of the film, he supposedly hit rock bottom. His crew has given up on him because he's just had a run of bad luck. And apparently it's because he's been cursed or what have you. And so his crew walks away. Mr. Gibbs, the guy who's been with him for the longest time, walks away. And you see Jack Sparrow give away that compass, that magical compass that he was given a few films ago, in the first film, I guess, that points to the thing that he wants most. And to see him willing to pawn that off for like a bottle of rum, for me, like, I was like, damn, like that's so sad. Because
but does he seem at all affected by it emotionally? He like?
For me, he doesn't. It wasn't like there was a hard choice for him, but for me, that was because he just got to the point where he just didn't give a shit anymore. And for me, that's the tragedy about him, because he is the one that was willing to take the curse that Will Turner. Jack Sparrow wanted to stab the heart so he could be bound to a ship forever. He wanted to do that, and so now it's just like, I don't care.
Yeah, but the thing is, I didn't see that movie. I'm watching this movie,
right? But again, like just like the Avengers film and the Age of Ultron films.
The Avengers films and the Age of Ultron films, I think that you can watch those films. Now, I don't have this experience, but I think that those are better standalone movies.
Some are,
and they
not Civil War,
and they do have those like beautiful, delicious nuggets that are payoff for the people, the faithful people who know what's going on. But I think that it still has to stand alone. And I think as a standalone film, this, like, I don't get the emotional satisfaction out of watching this film.
Here's my thing about Jack Sparrow. I agree with you, Lisa, that his arc in this film is barely existent.
A blip.
However, when you first meet Jack Sparrow, he is a total asshole. He is villainous. Even in the second and third film, despite that moment, that's where his arc happens, is in the third movie, where he does, do a good deed. But all the way through those movies, he's driven for himself. In this film, what I love about Captain Jack is he starts off, he's a complete and total rummy, a drunk, a loser, pathetic. He can't even hold his crew together. He gives up his compass, which at first I was kind of pissed at. I was like, Jack would never give this compass up. But it does signify how low he has gotten in that moment. And then...
And as a metaphor, giving up your sense of direction in life.
And then the scene I was not looking forward to, but had been seen in the trailer, was this flashback scene, yep. Right? Where the de-aged Johnny Depp. And then you see in that scene how fucking cool he was as a kid, and how he is the badass action hero in that scene that you see in all the Pirates films you've seen before this. I'm talking not like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, but pirate movies in general. That is the cliche pirate hero in that flashback. And then I take that flashback back to Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, and you see how far he has fallen in his celebrity, because he became Captain Jack Sparrow, and when we first meet him in the first film, he's in the process of losing all of that, or have lost it. And I think that's the best thing that happens to Captain Jack in Part 5 is that flashback and how it redefines your idea of that character in the previous movies.
And also, it's, for me, like that flashback show when he first got his tributes. And so almost all of the tributes he received in that flashback are what he's adorned with in all of the Pirates films. And for me, it just meant that while he may act like he doesn't care about his crew in that first time when he became captain meant something to him because he kept all of those things throughout all of his years as a pirate.
And you think back to the introduction of Captain Jack in the first film where he's coming a port on that tiny dinghy that is sinking, right? Yeah. And he's decked out and he's like, look, I'm Captain Jack. And they're like, well, what are you the captain of? You're the captain of nothing. Yeah. He is so desperately holding on to that moment when he won that compass.
Yeah. So I appreciate it. This was just weird, like the de-aging of Johnny Depp.
It's weird.
It's weird, but I appreciated what that scene was setting up and his backstory with Salazar and
But I do think in Pirates 5 he has very little to do outside of the things we talked about.
I think that he was the least interesting character, with perhaps the exception of young Turner. I think he was the least entertaining character, but everybody around him was like super fascinating, and so I resented the time that he was on screen because I was like, I want to see what Gibbs is doing.
I don't know if I necessarily resented the time he was on screen because I do like that character. I do like Captain Jack, and I understand that he is not in favor with the film Twitter, but I dig what Depp does with this buffoon.
Yeah. And it felt like
he's done that buffoon better. That's what I feel.
I appreciate that
in the previous Pirates films. Yeah, maybe, but at the same time, I still like this. Like I said, I could watch this character in a variety of quality films and still get entertainment from it.
Yeah.
My favorite Jack Sparrow is from the second one.
Yeah.
Particularly that moment at the end when he faces down the Kraken. Like, I was like, holy shit! Like I love this dude.
Again, because you do see acts of supreme heroism but they're like leaking out. Mm-hmm. I love him in the third film when he's in the afterlife and he's crewing his own ship and there's like all the varieties of Jack Sparrow.
Yeah,
awesome. Gore Verbinski, man.
And even in this film, the final moments where he hands off the diary to Will Turner's son to give to, I can't remember that lady's name.
Karina Smith.
Karina Smith. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Karina Barbosa.
Yeah.
And when he hands that diary off to Will Turner's son, like the moments like that are showing that Jack Sparrow cares about Barbosa's daughter. And I don't know if that was respect to Barbosa or her, or the fact that because he's gone through this adventure with these people, that he's not a total heartless human being. So I don't know. It's one of those characters that does run the risk of becoming how he was in the fourth film, which is just the Johnny Depp show, or it's just too much, or how Lisa took him in this film. But I think that, again, if we can get a director like Gore Verbinski to come back, if we can get Johnny Depp to play him more like he did in the second or the third, then I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it. Because again, there's more good that I see in this film, in the Pirates film, than bad, that I'd be willing to risk going back and returning.
I was super entertained by it. I still really enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
But hearing you guys get so excited about remembering the previous films is making me jealous.
I'm sorry.
I do not remember them.
I thought you and Brad rewatched them most recently.
Brad did. I did not.
I did not wait around for Lisa.
We don't do everything together.
Our schedules aren't always lined up. I got to fill that time.
I know. I've gone to movies without you, Lisa, plenty of times with Brad, so I know he doesn't wait. But if you end up getting around to him, when this comes out on home video at some point, like I think it'd be worth watching.
I think so, because you guys have resold me on them.
I just rewatching 2 and 3. I just love those.
They feel like a movie that was shot and then split in the middle, like broken in half.
They were.
They feel like the same. It felt like one story, a complete story, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That moment in the cell when Calypso's in the cell and Davy Jones comes there and she expresses her rage, but then she says, "So what now?" And he says, "You always have my heart."
Yeah,
that's so fucking great. In a Pirates movie, like that moment happens in a pirate movie. Naomi Harris is so good in that. Did you notice I think it's the first one, it's the second one, Zoe Saldana?
First one. She's the first one, yeah.
That's so random. I went back.
And she's great.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Is that Zoe Saldana? Okay. All right. But you don't see her anymore. Anyway. So, hit us up on social media and let us know what you thought of the Pirates film. If you've seen the fifth one. If not, hope we didn't spoil too much for you. Let's continue the discussion on social media. What do we got coming up? Wonder Woman.
Lisa,
you're going to the all women's screening of
I
Wonder Woman.
am going to the all-woman screening of Wonder Woman. I'm going to be sitting with Lisa at Muse Girl. I'm going to be sitting with Jill. I don't know her Twitter.
I think it's
know
at
that,
Jill Chandler 1.
Yes.
Nice. MK is going to be there. All of our faves from both Alamos. So it's going to be so nice, and I'm super stoked.
This is on Wednesday, right?
No, this isn't until...
It's after the release of the
It's
film.
after the... So that way I'm not cheating on Brad. I'll watch it with Brad, and then I'll watch it with my ladies.
It's after the...
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. Not that I'm saying it's okay that dudes are crying about it, that ladies get to
not.
see it. I was thinking, like, maybe they're crying because ladies get to see it before them. But now hearing that it's not... Like, you're going to get to see it before them. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what the...
Dude, internet bros.
And even when they're watching an all-ladies screening, just go in another theater and see it. Like,
men's rights activists, you're the worst.
You are the worst.
You're making us look bad, dude.
Get off this planet,
Making us
you
look bad.
idiots.
I'm looking forward to taking my daughter. I got our tickets already. I'm just looking forward to her seeing a woman on the screen be the star of the movie, save the day, be a superhero. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, dudes, get up. Come on, man. Seriously. Fuck.
Die.
Anyway, follow us on social media at ItModcast. Brian Young, the Turtle Dork, is at the Turtle Dork on Twitter, at the Turtle Dork 1 on Instagram, and at Brian William Young on Facebook. Check out our review of The Gray. He just hosted at the Alamo Draft House.
Oh my God.
In Winchester. We had a special night there. Yeah. Check that out. Brad Gullingson. I'm sorry. Wife Dork is at Sidewalk Siren on Twitter, at Sidewalk Siren on Instagram, and also at Letterboxd. Brad Gullingson is at Mouth Dork on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Letterboxd, and Untapped. And I'm Darren Smith, the Disco Dork, on all social medias. That's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. And until next time.
No, that's not how it goes, definitely.
Yo, let me fucking sing it to you. Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. We pillage, plunder, we rifle and loot. Drink up me arties, yo ho. We kidnap and ravage and don't give a hoot. Drink up me arties, yo ho. Yo ho, a pirate's life for me. We extort and pilfer, we filch and sack. Drink up me hearties, yo ho. Maraud and embezzle and even hijack. Drink up me arties, yo ho.
All right, that's the stinger. There you go. All right, and recording in 3. That is the singer. Singer.